It was a Friday afternoon. 3:15. I remember because I kept checking the clock, wondering when the meeting would end so I could start my weekend. Then my phone buzzed. A Slack message from my boss. "Can you come to HR? Now, please." My stomach dropped. When I walked into that conference room, my boss and the HR director were sitting across from me with a manila folder between them. She slid it across the table without a word. Inside were screenshots. Dozens of them. Anonymous posts from industry forums, Google reviews of my company, fake social media accounts, all saying the same thing. That I was incompetent, that I'd slept my way to my promotion, that I was toxic and manipulative, that I'd stolen credit for other people's work. "We have to investigate these allegations," my boss said quietly. "Until we do, we're placing you on administrative leave." My career, everything I'd worked for, every late night, every sacrifice, was crumbling because of lies. Vicious, calculated lies. And when I discovered who was behind them, it was my own cousin. To understand why I had to sue my own family, you need to understand the venom she sprayed across the internet and the lengths I had to go to protect my name. My cousin Jessica and I grew up close. Summer vacations together, sleepovers, shared secrets. We were more like sisters than cousins. But somewhere along the way, maybe in college, maybe after, things changed. She became competitive. Everything became a contest. Whose job was better, whose apartment was nicer, who our grandmother liked more. I tried to ignore it. I focused on my work. I'm a project manager at a tech consulting firm, the kind of job where your reputation is everything. I'd spent 7 years climbing the ladder, earning respect, building credibility. 6 months ago, I was promoted to senior manager. It was the culmination of years of 14-hour days, complex projects delivered flawlessly, mentoring junior staff. I earned it. Jessica didn't see it that way. At the family dinner where I announced the promotion, she barely looked at me. "Congrats," she said flatly, then changed the subject. 2 weeks later, my world started falling apart. It began with a text from my colleague, Marcus. We'd worked together on 3 major projects, and he was a friend. "Hey, are you okay? I saw some weird stuff online about you." My blood went cold. "What stuff?" He sent me screenshots. Someone had created anonymous accounts on LinkedIn, Reddit, and industry-specific forums. They were posting about me by name, my full name, my company, my position. The posts were devastating. One claimed I'd taken credit for a junior developer's work on a project that had won our company a major award. It named the project specifically, included details that made it sound credible. Another post, on a company review site, claimed I was having an affair with one of the senior partners, and that's how I'd gotten promoted. It included enough specific details about our office layout and meeting schedules to sound like it came from an insider. A third post called me toxic, manipulative, and claimed I'd created a hostile work environment that had driven 3 people to quit. None of it was true. None of it. But the posts were everywhere, and they were detailed enough to seem real. Within days, I started noticing changes at work. Colleagues who used to greet me warmly now gave tight smiles. In meetings, I could feel the skepticism, the doubt. People questioning my ideas more aggressively. The whispers when I walked by. My mentor, a VP who'd championed my promotion, pulled me aside. "I don't believe any of this," she said carefully. "But people are talking. HR is aware. You might want to get ahead of this." I felt like I was drowning. Every morning I'd wake up and immediately check Google, check the forums to see if there were new posts. There always were. Someone was systematically destroying my professional reputation, and I had no idea who or why. Until I did. The posts kept coming. Every few days, a new one would appear. Each more specific, more vicious than the last. Then came the HR meeting. The administrative leave. The humiliation of being escorted out of the office with my personal belongings in a box while co-workers watched. I wasn't fired, but I might as well have been. Paid leave pending investigation is just corporate speak for guilty until proven innocent. I went home and I cried for about 4 hours straight. Then I called my best friend, Maya. Maya and I met in college. She went to law school while I went into tech. She's now one of the top defamation lawyers in the state, the kind who represents celebrities and executives in high-stakes cases. I opened a bottle of wine at 2 in the afternoon and told her everything while she pulled up the posts on her laptop. She read them with the cold, analytical focus of a surgeon examining an X-ray. "These are actionable," she said finally. "Textbook defamation. False statements of fact, published to third parties, causing reputational harm. You have a case." "But I don't know who's doing this," I said, my voice breaking. "They're all anonymous." Maya smiled. It wasn't a comforting smile. It was the smile of a lawyer who'd just spotted blood in the water. That's what subpoenas are for. She clicked through the posts again, this time looking for patterns. Writing style. Common phrases. Timing. Then she stopped on one particular post. It was on a Reddit thread about toxic workplaces, posted 3 days earlier. The post included a reference to something oddly specific. She's the type who'd probably steal her grandmother's sugar-free cheesecake recipe and pass it off as her own creation at a family party. Maya looked at me. That's specific. Why mention a grandmother and a cheesecake? My stomach dropped. My grandmother's 70th birthday party, I whispered. 2 months ago. Jessica brought a sugar-free cheesecake that she claimed she'd made from scratch. My grandmother told her it was delicious. Later, my aunt found the receipt from a bakery in Jessica's purse. It became this huge inside joke in the family. Only about 8 people knew about that incident. And only one of them hated me enough to reference it in an anonymous attack post. It's Jessica, I said. It's my cousin. Maya's eyes narrowed. Are you sure? I scrolled through more posts. Now that I was looking for it, I could see her everywhere. The writing style, the way she used certain emojis, the phrases she always used, even the timestamps matched when she'd be awake and active online. It was her. My own cousin was trying to destroy my life. I called her. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Jessica, I said when she answered. I know it's you. I know you've been posting lies about me online. You need to stop. Now. There was a pause. Then she laughed. A cold, mean laugh. I don't know what you're talking about, she said. But maybe if you weren't such a bitch at work, people wouldn't have such strong opinions about you. Jessica. You think you're so much better than everyone else. You always have. Maybe this is just karma. She hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone, and something inside me shifted. The hurt, the betrayal, the fear, it all crystallized into something harder. Resolve. I looked at Maya. What do I do? She was already opening her laptop. We build a case. And then we bury her. Maya explained the strategy over the next hour, and it was brilliant. First, she said, you do nothing. You don't confront her again. You don't post anything online defending yourself. You let her think she's winning. Why? Because people who think they're getting away with something get sloppy. She'll post more. She'll get more specific. And every single post is more evidence. Second, I'm going to send preservation letters to every platform where these posts appeared: Reddit, LinkedIn, Google, Twitter. It's a legal demand that they preserve all data associated with these accounts. IP addresses, device information, email addresses used to create the accounts, everything. Will they comply? They have to. It's the law. And once we have that data, we'll know for certain it's her. Third, we file a John Doe lawsuit. That's a lawsuit against an anonymous defendant. Once we file it, we can subpoena the platforms to release the user information. That's how we confirm identity and build our case. I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks: hope. Not just hope, power. How long will this take? A few weeks for the data. Then we serve her with the actual lawsuit. I nodded slowly. I want to do it publicly. Maya raised an eyebrow. Publicly? My grandmother's birthday party is in 3 weeks. The whole family will be there, including Jessica. I want her served there. In front of everyone. Maya grinned. That's stone cold. I love it. We spent the next week documenting everything. Every post, every screenshot, every timestamp. Maya filed the preservation letters and then the John Doe lawsuit. I went back to my carefully maintained silence. I didn't respond to any posts. I didn't defend myself. I just waited. And Jessica kept posting. 10 days after our call, the subpoenaed data came back. Every single post, all 47 of them, originated from the same IP address. An address that Maya's investigator confirmed belonged to Jessica's apartment building. The account creation emails all traced back to a burner email address, but the recovery phone number? Jessica's cell phone. We had her. Completely, irrefutably, legally had her. Maya drafted the official complaint. It was 32 pages of legal precision: defamation, tortious interference with business relations, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The demanded damages were $500,000. Enough to ruin Jessica financially. Enough to make her think twice before she ever did this to anyone else. When do you want to serve her? Maya asked. I looked at the calendar. My grandmother's party was in 4 days. Saturday night, I said. 7 p.m. Right in the middle of dinner. Maya smiled. I'll arrange the process server. The days leading up to my grandmother's party were surreal. I knew what was coming. Jessica didn't. I watched her post on Instagram about outfit shopping for Nana's Big 7-0. She posted a selfie at the nail salon with the caption, "Getting pretty for family time, Red Heart." She had no idea that in 72 hours, her life was about to implode. The party was at La Bella Vista, an upscale Italian restaurant with private dining rooms. My grandmother had invited 40 people, the whole extended family, close friends, people she'd known for decades. I arrived early, wearing a navy blue dress that Maya had helped me pick out. Look professional, she'd advised. Composed. Unshakable. The process server was already there, sitting at the bar, nursing a Coke. He was in his 50s, former law enforcement, completely unflappable. Maya had briefed him thoroughly. She'll be at table 6, I'd told him. Blonde, likely wearing something pink. I'll text you when it's time. He nodded once. I've done this 1,000 times. Don't worry. By 7, everyone had arrived. My grandmother was in her element, holding court at the head of the long table, laughing at stories, opening gifts. Jessica was sitting halfway down the table, directly across from me. She was wearing a pink dress, as predicted, and she looked triumphant. Smug. She'd barely acknowledged me when I arrived, just a cool hey and a fake smile. Now she was telling a story about her job. She worked in marketing for a mid-sized firm, making it sound far more impressive than it was. People were laughing, engaged. She glanced at me once, and I saw it in her eyes. She thought she'd won. Thought she'd destroyed me. I picked up my phone under the table and texted the process server, now! 30 seconds later, he walked into the private dining room. The room didn't immediately notice him. Conversations were still flowing, wine was being poured. But I watched him walk directly toward our table with the crisp, purposeful stride of someone on official business. He stopped behind Jessica's chair. Jessica Marie Smith? The table fell silent. Every head turned. Jessica looked up, confused. Yes. You've been served. He placed a thick manila envelope on the table in front of her. The words Superior Court were visible on the front. Jessica stared at it like it was a live snake. What is this? Her voice was shrill, panicky. Legal documents, ma'am. You're required to read them and respond within 30 days. Have a nice evening. He turned and walked out. Jessica's hands were shaking as she opened the envelope. I watched her eyes scan the first page. Then the second. Her face drained of all color. This is a lawsuit, she whispered. Then louder, her voice breaking. You're suing me? The entire table was staring now. My grandmother looked confused and alarmed. My aunt was frozen with her wine glass halfway to her mouth. I stood up slowly. Every eye in the room turned to me. Yes, Jessica. I am. You can't, this is insane. Over what? Over the 47 anonymous posts you made about me online over the last 6 months. The posts where you accused me of sleeping with my boss, of stealing credit for other people's work, of being toxic and incompetent. The posts that got me placed on administrative leave and nearly cost me my career. Gasps around the table. Jessica's mouth opened and closed. I didn't, you can't prove. Actually, I said calmly, I can. Every single post was traced back to your IP address. Your apartment. Your devices. My lawyer has phone records, timestamps, everything. It's all in the complaint you're holding. My grandmother stood up, her voice sharp. Jessica, is this true? Jessica's eyes filled with tears. She's lying. She's always been jealous of me. The court documents include printed copies of every post, I continued, speaking to the room now, with IP logs and metadata proving they all came from Jessica. This isn't an accusation. It's a fact. I looked directly at Jessica. You tried to destroy my career because you were jealous of my promotion. You posted lies designed to make me look like I'd slept my way to the top, like I was incompetent, like I was toxic. You did it anonymously because you're a coward. But the internet isn't as anonymous as you thought. Tears were streaming down Jessica's face now, but they weren't sympathetic tears. They were the tears of someone who'd been caught. The lawsuit is for defamation, tortious interference with my business relationships, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, I said. We're seeking $500,000 in damages. My lawyer advises me that we have an exceptionally strong case. I picked up my purse. I'd recommend you call a lawyer, Jessica. You're going to need one. And the next time you post about me, anywhere, ever, it will be entered as evidence and used to increase the damages. I turned to my grandmother. I'm sorry, Nana. I didn't want to ruin your party. But I couldn't let her sit here pretending to be a loving family member while she was actively trying to destroy my life. I hope you understand. My grandmother looked at Jessica with an expression I'd never seen before, disappointment and disgust. I think you should leave, Jessica, she said quietly. Jessica stood up, clutching the lawsuit, and ran out of the restaurant sobbing. I stayed for another hour. And slowly, one by one, family members came up to me. They asked questions. They looked at the evidence I'd brought on my phone. They hugged me. By the end of the night, the family had chosen sides. And I'd won. The lawsuit took 4 months to resolve. Jessica hired a lawyer, a mediocre one she could barely afford. He took one look at the evidence and advised her to settle immediately. She tried to fight anyway. She claimed the posts were opinion and therefore protected speech. She claimed I couldn't prove they'd harmed me. She claimed I was being vindictive. Maya destroyed every argument with surgical precision. We had email correspondence from my HR department documenting the investigation. We had testimony from colleagues about how the posts had changed workplace dynamics. We had documentation of the professional opportunities I'd lost while on leave. The harm was quantifiable, documented, and directly linked to her posts. 2 weeks before the trial date, Jessica's lawyer called Maya. "My client wants to settle." "Of course she does," Maya said. The settlement terms were brutal. First, a public apology. Jessica had to post a written statement on every platform where she'd posted about me, admitting she'd lied, explaining that the posts were false, and apologizing for the harm she'd caused. The apology had to stay up for a minimum of 90 days. Second, a monetary payment of $175,000. Not the full $500,000 we'd asked for, but enough to cover my legal fees, my lost wages, and punitive damages. Third, a permanent injunction. Jessica was legally forbidden from ever mentioning me online, in person, or in writing ever again. If she violated it, she'd face contempt of court charges and additional financial penalties. And fourth, this was my favorite part, she had to write a letter to my company's HR department on the record, admitting she'd fabricated the allegations and apologizing for the harm to my reputation. She signed everything. I took the settlement letter to my HR director the next day. She read it, her expression shifting from professional neutrality to genuine anger on my behalf. "I am so sorry," she said. "We should have investigated more thoroughly before placing you on leave." "You followed protocol," I said. "I understand. But I'd like to come back to work now." She nodded. "Absolutely. And..." She paused. "The senior leadership team has been discussing your situation. We'd like to offer you a promotion to director level, effective immediately, with a salary increase and a formal apology in your personnel file for the hardship you endured." I didn't just get my reputation back. I got a promotion. I got vindication. I got justice. Jessica's public apology went live on a Wednesday afternoon. I didn't read the comments, I didn't need to. I'd already won. The family dynamics shifted permanently. My grandmother called me a week after the settlement. "I'm proud of you," she said. "You stood up for yourself. That takes courage." Some relatives, Jessica's mother mostly, stayed angry at me. "Did you have to sue her? Did you have to humiliate her like that?" My answer was always the same. She tried to destroy my career. She tried to ruin my life. I defended myself. If that makes me the bad guy in your eyes, I can live with that. And I could. Because the truth is, I didn't just win a lawsuit. I won something much more important, my self-respect. I learned that you don't have to just take it when someone attacks you. You don't have to be the bigger person by staying silent while someone burns down your reputation. Sometimes, being the bigger person means standing up, fighting back, and holding people accountable for their actions. If you take anything from my story, let it be this. In the digital age, your reputation is your most valuable asset. It's your career, your relationships, your peace of mind. And when someone tries to destroy it, especially from behind the shield of anonymity, you have every right to fight back. Document everything. Screenshots with timestamps. URLs. Every single piece of evidence. You never know when you'll need it. Seek professional help. I was lucky to have a best friend who's a lawyer, but defamation attorneys exist for a reason. Many will do free consultations. If you have a case, they'll tell you. And most importantly, don't be afraid to use the legal system. That's what it's there for. It exists to protect people from exactly this kind of harm. People will tell you that suing family is wrong, that you should just forgive and move on, that being vindictive won't make you happy. Those people are wrong. Holding someone accountable for trying to destroy your life isn't vindictive. It's self-preservation. It's justice. And it sends a clear message: I will not be a victim. Jessica learned an expensive lesson. The internet isn't anonymous, actions have consequences, and some people will fight back. I learned a different lesson: I am worth fighting for. My reputation is worth defending. And I will never ever apologize for standing up for myself. So here's my question for you. Have you ever been the target of online harassment, gossip, or defamation? How did you handle it? Did you fight back or try to ignore it? What would you do differently now? Share your story in the comments. Your experience might help someone who's going through this right now and feeling powerless. And if you believe, like I do, That we all have the right to defend our reputations and hold bullies accountable, no matter who they are. Hit that subscribe button. Because your name, your career, your peace of mind, they're worth fighting for. Don't let anyone make you feel small. Don't let anyone hide behind a keyboard while they destroy what you've built. Stand up. Fight back. And never, ever apologize for protecting yourself.